Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at the Big A on Friday, November the 29th, race number 8. It's the Grade 3 Cumley. $200,000 is the purse, a mile and an eighth for 3-year-old fillies. This race occurring on Black Friday. Nice segue because DRF is having the Black Friday week of sales at shop.drf.com. Save big on DRF's hottest handicapping tools. Here's the field for the Grade 3 Cumley. Nice evenly matched group. The 2 Gold Standard already graded stakes placed. The 4 Arafana will be making her stakes debut, but she is undefeated from 4 lifetime starts. And you've got Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez represented by the number 3 Bolera. Pace makes the race. Let's see what the Timeform US Pace Projector has in store for this year's edition of the Cumley. And they believe that the 2 Gold Standard and Javier Castellano can make the lead, and if that's the case, the rest of this field could be in big trouble with that blue bar scenario.
Yeah, if the race is going to be run that way, Gold Standard may very well be really hard to beat. She's obviously in good form right now, Dan. Her speed makes her very dangerous. We'll see how loose she can get. I think there are other horses who could at least keep her honest in front.
The number 1 in here is Stand for the Flag, who has really stepped up her game since being stretched out to a route of ground. She's won her last 2 races, including this victory at Parks last time out. A nice spot for her first start against winners, to be sure. She's the 2-5 favorite in here. She is on the outside in the pink silks. She's on her left lead as she makes the front. She wins with a 78 buyer. It's a bit of a regression from the 88 she earned over a sloppy track at Belmont, but this filly has done little wrong and is all upside.
She really is, and it goes for a dangerous trainer as well. She has a lot of pedigree on the bottom. This is a very strong and stout Phipps female family on the bottom, so you don't worry about distance with her. I thought she was okay when she won the Slob 2 back. I don't know about you, Dan. I wasn't as blown away with her win last time. Obviously, she was clear at the end. I thought she worked pretty hard to beat that field, and it was not a very good field.
I agree. It was a bit workmanlike. We saw her hanging on her left lead. It was not a very strong field. A Fleet Destiny's in here, and she's a big price, and she finished second. She did come back to win. She's going to have to improve, but she draws nicely and is bred to get the mile and an eighth. The 2 is Gold Standard, a 7-figure 2-year-old in training purchase, never off the board from 6 lifetime starts. Faced a pretty good one last time out when the beaten favorite in the Remington Park Oaks. That's Lady Apple on the outside, who was just better than Gold Standard. Gold Standard was up and on the pace. She's down towards the inside, and she really shows no quit while down on the rail against Lady Apple, who's a multiple graded stakes winner. Gold Standard ran well here, the mile and an eighth. We'll see how she handles it, but if she gets to an easy lead, she's going to be tough.
Yeah, that pace projector would suggest that she'll have an easier time getting the mile and an eighth. We'll see. I liked her going into that Remington Oaks last time, Dan. I thought her 3 wins leading into that were all pretty impressive. And listen, she ran fine in that race. She was very game down to the wire, just not quite good enough to hold off Lady Apple. Maybe nobody in here is as good as Lady Apple, Dan. It's a good spot for this horse.
I think John Velasquez will have Bolera up close, though. I can't imagine Johnny V allowing Gold Standard to just walk the dog on an easy early lead, especially considering that we know Bolera is a known commodity at this 9-furlong distance, and she's been facing some pretty salty older competition. The last race is another throwout where she lost the jock at the start, but other than that, she's done little wrong, and she does have that big fig at a mile and an eighth, albeit over a sloppy track.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a concern. She just got, loose on a pretty soft pace that day and had a lot left in the stretch. She really finished that race off well and earned an 89 buyer. After that, the Keeneland race, she ran okay. And their Grandaria is another 3-year-old. She's running in the Fall City at Churchill this weekend. And she's an okay horse, too. And this horse just couldn't hold her off. I guess she ran fine. I can't say I love her in this race, Dan, but I'm not going to be surprised when she runs well.
All eyes will be on the undefeated Arafana. This is a beautifully bred daughter of Curlin. I like how the connections have handled this filly. She got a late start to her career, didn't make the debut until August of her 3-year-old campaign, and they have just taken incremental steps up the class ladder, up the distance ladder. Last time out was her first time around 2 turns, and she was 1-5. And we're going to see this race right now. And I think a lot of folks were disappointed that she didn't put on a show and win by 100 lengths. But that horse, Tweeting, is a Jorge Navarro-trained horse that got loose on the lead. Arafana showed fight. And I like the fact she had to work, Mike. Her 3 earlier races were won so easily. It was nice to see that she could handle a little bit of adversity, a little bit of fight. And I think it sets her up nicely for this race.
I agree with that. It's also nice to see that she can handle 2 turns as she did last time as well. Now we'll see about the 9 furlongs, which she is bred to get. I don't know, Dan. I can't remember the last time I saw a horse like this actually run through her conditions before they tried a stakes race with her. I think it actually sets her up very well. I like the way they've handled her, and she's going to be pretty tough in this race, I think.
Lights, camera, action ships up from Keeneland for a very good trainer in Chris Block. The main concern, other than the class question, is the running style. She does not have a lot of early speed. She got a little bit of pace last time out to win this race at Keeneland. Let's watch lights, camera, action. She's angling to the outside right now. She has a lot of work to do inside the 16th pole, Mike, and she's going to get it done late at a big price. Motion Emotion, the horse she runs down, is a pretty nice filly in her own right, but I am concerned about her lack of early speed and her lack of a big buyer.
Yeah, I'm worried about her running style more than anything else. Maybe at the end of the day, Dan, if nobody wants to go this far, the pace won't matter, and she'll just come and pick horses up at the end. But if she gets outrun early, she could be up against it in here. All in all, though, that was a pretty solid win last time. The pace was there for her, but Motion Emotion would be pretty tough in this race. And
We saw
Fleet ran her down last time.
Well, I'm sorry about that, Mike. We saw Fleet Destiny finish second behind Stand for the Flag, 2 starts back at Parks, and then she came back to win. It was a nice class drop. It was a nice confidence booster. I didn't think much about this field. We're going to watch a Fleet Destiny right now. She got a good stalking position. She's angling out now in the yellow and black. She's going to get outside this gray horse, and she's just better than these horses. And just consider, she won this race by open lengths, but only with a 74 buyer. This is going to be career start number 18, and I just don't see much improvement from a Fleet Destiny that we saw at Aqueduct as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's the real problem for her. I mean, it was probably long overdue for them to get her down in class like they have in her last couple of starts, and it's actually paid off for them last time. And now they're going to step her right back up. She's not bad, Dan. Kind of horse I could use underneath at a big price. It's just hard to make her win this race.
Perhaps Classic Fit can be a bit close to the pace in the Mother Goose sort of her coming out party. I wanted to give her a little extra credit because it was her first start in 6.5 months, and she ran into Dunbar Road, who's one of the better 3-year-old fillies in the country. But just going back and watching that race, she just had everything handed to her on a silver platter on an easy early lead. She was second best. She was really bad when they shipped her to Del Mar and the Torrey Pines. And last time out, I mean, she was right up on the pace with Gold Standard, and she just couldn't step with that horse in the lane. So to me, she has to improve. I like that they gave her a little bit of time to try to figure her out.
Yeah, we'll see if she can take a step forward. I sort of agree with everything you said about her, though. Her Mother Goose, which at this stage of the game is the best race she has run, she didn't even really run that well in there. And since then, things have not gone according to plan for her connections.
Mike, I want to use Oxy Lady a little bit at a price in here. We know she likes Aqueduct. She won the Grade 3 Tempted here as a 2-year-old by 5 lengths. She's never run back to that 94 buyer. She may never run back to that 94 buyer. But her last race was the Raven Run, and it was her first start off of a long layoff. At a distance, it seems a little bit short for her. Listen, she was just overmatched in that spot, and she was running on, punching on at the end. I like her stretching back out with that race under her girth, and she's run well second off the bench in the past. At 15-1, I can use her in my exotics.
Yeah, I thought the same way about her. I don't love her in here, but I could definitely use her somewhere. Obviously, it seems at this stage of the game, the 94 she got for the Tempted, it's just not the real figure. That race has never panned out for any of them, really. But Oxy Lady's run twice at Aqueduct, and they're the 2 best races, in my opinion, the 2 best races that she has ever run in her life. The Tempted win, and she probably was going to win the Busher if she could have gotten clear in the stretch. So getting back to Aqueduct, it could really help this horse.
Well, let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 3 Comely. We've both been impressed with Arafana. We're both old school. We like the fact they've taken their time. She's bred to get the mile and an eighth, and she's versatile. We've seen her come from way out of it sprinting. We've seen her come close when the pace is slow, going a route of ground. I think she's versatile enough. We're going to find out. She's going to need to take a step forward if she's going to take down a horse like Gold Standard. I think she has it in her.
Yeah, I do too. We'll see how they bet the race too, because they made her the morning line favorite, which I can't argue with. She's undefeated. People like to see undefeated horses, so we'll see how they bet it. But I just thought the 2 favorites were pretty strong in this race.
Mike and I have the same exact of 4-2. Mike's going 4-2-5-8. I'm going 4-2-8-7. It's the Grade 3 Comely for 3-year-old fillies at the Big A with an approximate post time of 3:15 Eastern on Friday. Best of luck.